Embracing fear as a catalyst for growth. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down at the vast unknown below. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and your mind floods with questions. What if I fall? What if I fail? This is fear raw, unfiltered, and powerful. It's a force that has stopped many of us in our tracks, kept us small, and held us back from reaching our fullest potential. But what if I told you that fear isn't the enemy? What if I told you that fear is a compass pointing you toward growth? Fear is natural. It's part of our biology, a mechanism wired into us for survival. Thousands of years ago, fear kept our ancestors alive in the face of predators and dangers. Today, it often shows up in different ways: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. While these fears may no longer be about survival, they still feel just as intense. But here's the truth: fear isn't a stop sign, it's a signpost. It doesn't mean stop. It means, pay attention, there's something important here. Fear is the threshold of change. It's where growth happens. Think about it. Think about a time in your life when you felt afraid. Perhaps it was starting a new job, speaking in public, or stepping into a new relationship. You felt that tightness in your chest, the pounding in your ears. But when you pushed through that fear, something incredible happened. You grew. You learned. You became stronger. Fear is not meant to paralyze you, it's meant to propel you. It's not an obstacle, it's an opportunity. Fear is like a muscle: the more you work with it, the stronger you become. It's not about eliminating fear, it's about embracing it and using it as fuel to move forward. Some of the most successful people in the world were driven by fear. J.K. Rowling feared never being able to provide for her family, but she turned that fear into the Harry Potter series, a global phenomenon. Nelson Mandela once said, "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." Courage isn't the lack of fear, it's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't that successful people don't feel fear, it's that they don't let it control them. They recognize that fear is a natural response to stepping outside their comfort zone and into the space where all growth happens. Now, how do you get what you want that is located on the other side of fear? 1. Acknowledge it. The first step is to acknowledge your fear. Don't bury it or pretend it doesn't exist. Say it out loud: "I'm afraid of this." Naming your fear takes away some of its power and brings it into the light. 2. Analyze it. Ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen? Often, our fears are exaggerated. When you break them down and look at them logically, they lose their grip on you. 3. Act despite it. Take small steps toward the thing you fear. Action is the antidote to fear. Start with something manageable. If you fear public speaking, start by speaking up more in small groups. If you fear failure, start with small, calculated risks. The more you face your fears, the less intimidating they become. 4. Reframe fear as excitement. Physiologically, fear and excitement are nearly identical: racing heart, heightened senses, adrenaline pumping. The next time you feel afraid, tell yourself, "I'm not afraid, I'm excited." This simple shift in mindset can turn fear into a motivating force. 5. Reflect on past triumphs. Remember the times when you were afraid but pushed through. How did you feel afterward? Use those moments as fuel to remind yourself that you've faced fear before, and you've come out stronger on the other side. Fear is a friend. Fear can either be a prison that holds you back or a path that leads you to your greatest self. The choice is yours. Don't wait for the fear to disappear, it won't. Instead, take it by the hand, look it in the eye, and say, "Come along for the ride. I'm moving forward anyway." Because on the other side of fear is freedom. On the other side of fear is growth. On the other side of fear is the person you were always meant to be. Embrace your fear. Use it. Grow from it. And watch how your life transforms. Thank you for listening, and remember, fear isn't a foe, it's your fiercest ally on the journey to greatness. God bless.